Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. And we appear to be almost live. Good morning to Mags. Good morning to Hidden Agendas. KB, I hope you're doing incredibly well. We have Queen back in chat on Binance Square. Triple B is back in chat. Juliet, or Julieta should I say, is back. Good morning to you. Rajid, good morning. I hope you're all doing incredibly well. Now I suppose we should get on with the show. Good morning, everybody. Let me just this camera a little bit. So I'm in the middle. Mike here. It is January the 29th, 11 a.m. Central European Time. Back with the gossip. And the gossip isn't to talk about Mags' divorce today. The gossip is to talk about what happened with the FOMC meeting last night. We're going to talk about that on Bitcoin. What's going to happen next? We've got to talk about the ERC 8004, the new standard on Ethereum. We're going to talk about USAT, the new bona fide legal Tether stablecoin. We're going to be talking about the Ripple Treasury, hype or rally. That's the question. Then we're going to be talking about Link, and then we're going to be talking, and this is my favorite title of the show, and you have to be old to know who I'm talking about, and that is Twisted Sees Easter. You have to get the reference. Drop it in chat if you have any idea what we're talking about. Basically, CZ came out and explained what his tweet was about. We're going to go through that as well. We're going to talk about the X-Files. And, of course, we are going to go through the prices. Now, before we begin, last night was the world's first ever live multi-platform interactive quiz. Not just in crypto, in anything. We ran it on Binance Square. We ran it on a few other places as well, which we can't mention the names of. And we have a list of winners. Some of you on Binance Square have won. The Oracle's got your names. We're going to be sending out the prizes in the next couple of days. If you finished in the top 3, you need to contact me and we'll send you the prize there. And we did the Crypto Warehouse Wheel of Fortune at the very, very end, and we picked 3 winners to win some crypto as well. So all of those prizes are going to go out over the course of the next couple of days. So congratulations to you all. I am not going to hang around. We are going to get on with the show because we only have an hour, and then we have a lot to do. It's not looking good. It's not looking bad. It's just looking. Bitcoin is coming in 87.7. It's down a little bit since yesterday. Ethereum is down below $3,000. Again, we kind of rallied into the FOMC meeting, which we'll talk about in a minute. And then we've kind of basically dropped a little bit after it. It's the usual fare, is it not? Market cap is still just under $3 trillion. That's something to keep an eye on. Fear and greed at 38. Surprisingly high. In my opinion, I don't think we are in a 38 fear and greed period. I'd say we're more in the 25 to 30, 32 period. I think maybe we are waiting for the next move. So maybe there's not too much fear. And maybe that next move is a positive move. So maybe fear and greed is front running, right? Who knows? BNB is back at $900. Now I'm sure. No, I didn't stream yesterday, did I? I streamed on Tuesday. So Tuesday, BNB was under $900. So we've actually had a bit of a catch-up. XRP doesn't seem to have moved since we streamed last. 187, I think it was 184. Solana at 123. Cardano at 35 cents. Not the greatest price for Cardano, really. I mean, of all the coins that have retraced, I think Cardano has retraced a lot more than most. If you look at XRP, for example, XRP topped at what, 375-ish? We're kind of 50% down. Cardano went over $1. We're kind of in the absolute depths of the bear market for Cardano. Hype is back over $30, $32.32. Congrats to all of you that have held. It's up 47% over the last 7 days. Chainlink is under $12. There are some absolute travesties of justice in these charts. Absolute travesties of justice. Right then, Stable is coming in 21.5% up. I know nothing about Stable. I'll go and have a look later. WorldCoin, Trashcoin is up 5%. Gold is up $5,500 for gold and precious metals. Okay, everyone I turn on now is talking about gold. Okay, that's not what this channel is about. We're not called Metal Warehouse. Okay, we're not called Commodity Warehouse. We're called Crypto Warehouse because we're here to talk about crypto. So we're not going to be talking about gold, but really not a lot else. And losers, this is going to hurt. Pump.fun is down 10%. Chiliz, trash. Chiliz is down. Crimea River has fallen again. Privacy Coins down. Zcash and Dash are down. Asta is at 65 cents. Again, no justice in the world. Lighter, Hype. What else is down here that we quite like? ICP is down. Render is down. Sui is down. Sui, the next great thing, is down. That is down at 136. That was, what, $5 not that long ago? So some coins that are in bear markets more than others. Maybe that should tell us something about the coins that have not fallen that more. Ethereum hasn't fallen that more. BNB hasn't really fallen that much. I mean, we're talking about, what, 30%, 35% falls for some of the major coins. Other coins are down over 60%. So maybe the winners and the losers, we should start to look at maybe the 90-day performance of these charts and see what's held up more than others. That's it. From the charts, we're going to start with the X-Files. I think I have put a portfolio in at the very beginning. And again, this show's probably going to overrun. I might trim the end of the show. As I said to you on Tuesday, I think it's only fair to have full disclosure about what we hold. Now, for those of you that are on Binance Square, hello, I posted this up on there 2 or 3 days ago as well. Posted this up on X. This is the breakdown of our portfolio. And it surprised me, by the way, because, of course, some of these coins have changed weighting really over the last... probably over the last 6 months since the last time we looked at it. Now, Bitcoin is coming in at 59.14%. I've rounded that up to 60%. There is a little bit of rounding going on here. Ethereum is coming in at 15%. Now, what's important to understand about this is we talk about a 60% Bitcoin Ethereum portfolio. We always say, if you go off traditional finance and you look at 60% stocks, 40% bonds, we kind of do the same thing in crypto, but we consider Bitcoin and Ethereum to be the two staples. So to have 75% of our portfolio in Bitcoin and Ethereum shows that they have gained a lot more than the rest, number one, and number two, they've fallen a lot less than the rest. So I think I'm pretty happy with 75% in Bitcoin and Ethereum. We've then got some dry powder, it's called. That's cash on the side. That's to go back into the market. Then we have a collection of other coins. Some have done better than others. Crow at 6.6% is a higher allocation than normal. Solana 5.3%. That's coming in a little bit more than the 5% allocation we gave it. Now, ADA and XRP, this is an interesting one. ADA and XRP, we had a different weighting on each of those, but they're making up another probably 5% of the portfolio. So you could probably say 82, 88, 93, 97% of the portfolio is on what you can see there. 6 coins. Now, I obviously try and do what I preach. And the minimum really portfolio size you should be looking at is about 6. We say 6 to 12 coins. Then if you look underneath, we have a list of really, really, really small allocations. Syrup, absolutely. Asta, World Liberty Financial, Link, and soon to be PAC. PAC is the one that is only really gone live in the last week or so, week and a half. That's our portfolio. So we're going to show you what we hold. Now, I say this to you all the time. There are coins we talk about, like Hype and others, that we really like. But we're not going to go and buy every single token. We're not day traders. We're not week traders. We buy and we hold. And we buy and we hold the majority in Bitcoin and Ethereum. The one thing that's not listed on here is our BNB holdings. And as I said, I don't think this is fully up to date. I'm going to have to go and have a look. But I think we might have an allocation in BNB, but maybe it's not big enough to appear in the top. But anyway, long and short of it, that's our portfolio. We always try and be as open and honest as possible. If we go and buy tokens, we will tell you. We've been buying Asta, we've been buying World Liberty Financial, and we're going to go and buy PAC. That's what we've been doing. We've been we sold some syrup when it pumped to about 35 cents last year. We sold, it came down, it's now on the way back up. We're holding our syrup. That's the way it is. Now then, German federal police are conducting raids at Deutsche Bank, investigating as yet unnamed persons and bank employees on suspicion of money laundering, and they tell you that crypto is for criminals. The biggest asset or the biggest value of crime takes place in the US dollar by a country mile. So when they tell you that crypto is full of thieves, just remember, Deutsche Bank will get raided this week. Maybe in 6 months' time, Goldman Sachs will get raided. Maybe in 12 months' time, BlackRock will get raided. They are no saints. Bitcoin still amazed by these stats of the past year of returns on Bitcoin. Now, we've covered this before from somebody else. And this is an interesting one because this is about the days of the week. And a lot of people say, when should you buy Bitcoin? When should you buy? What frequency should you buy Bitcoin at? Sometimes I'll say weekly or monthly, depending on how much you've got. If you've got, I don't know, $400 a month to put into Bitcoin, I'd buy it every week. Okay, if you've got $100 to buy in Bitcoin, I'd buy it every month. Just depends on how much you've got. And obviously, if you're on an exchange like Binance, for example, and you get zero fee trading, just set up a recurring buy order of $25 a week if you've got $100 a month to spend. But this is interesting. And this is, of course, nothing to do with Bitcoin. This is all to do with the markets. These are the daily average returns of Bitcoin. Monday and Tuesday, flat. Wednesday, traditionally, we gain 0.5%. Thursday and Friday, the worst 2 days of the week. Saturday, flat. Sunday, we have fake out Sunday. And then you've got the weekday and the weekend. You will see that the weekdays we tend to underperform and the weekends we tend to overperform. And guess what isn't open at the weekends? Exactly. So I think this is pretty interesting because there are many things that impact this. The stock market, FOMC is normally on a Wednesday as well. So it's just an interesting thing. So if you were going to buy crypto, for example, the best day of the week, in my opinion, to buy it is either a Monday or a Friday. They will be the 2 days of the week I would set up a recurring order on. Simply because you're buying the bottom on Friday. Wednesday, if you time it wrong, you're buying the top. I mean, it doesn't really matter over a very long period of time. It doesn't really matter. But if you had to pick one, you know, if you held a gun to my head, I would be buying Friday at 10 p.m. That's when I would be buying my Bitcoin. But anyway, I just thought that was quite an interesting thing because, like I said, the days of the week, especially the weekends we tend to rally higher because markets tend to be closed. Wednesday, we have the FOMC. There are lots of other things. Monday, you've got like the fake out Monday again, where we wick up and we wick down. I don't know. Now, this is an absolute pile of trash. Okay? You're going to see more and more of this. You can get a heater, which is $1,500, that will make you $450 worth of Bitcoin in a season. And I imagine a season is 3 months. You're only going to have your heater on in your house, depending on where you live, of course, maybe 3 months of the year. So you're investing $1,400 to make $450. And again, the next year, the difficulty, the hash rate of mining Bitcoin is going to be a lot higher. So that $450 is likely to fall away to the side. It's a gimmick. This is a gimmick, okay? Luxury watchmaker Jacob & Co. just announced a watch that can mine Bitcoin. It doesn't mine the Bitcoin. The watch doesn't mine the Bitcoin. It explains underneath that the watch doesn't mine Bitcoin. There is a remote mining facility that will mine the Bitcoin on behalf of you when you buy your watch, okay? Don't fall for crap like this. Don't go and buy stupid heaters that are going to cost you. Go and buy a $100 heater and go and put $1,400 into Bitcoin. Don't buy that watch. Go and buy the amount of Bitcoin that watch is worth and go and buy a $5 watch, okay? Nobody cares about your watch, right? Mr. Big, hard Rolex man. Nobody cares about your Rolex. Go and buy $35,000 of Bitcoin. Vitalik warns of a crypto doomsday scenario. Vitalik Buterin said the greatest fear is if crypto becomes just speculation with no real applications. He warns that if people only gamble, the industry will die. To avoid that, he said we must build real value, true DAOs, dApps with real use and more open DeFi. I think I retweeted this yesterday with my own comment, and I think my own comment is basically going to sum up everything I think about what Vitalik has had to say. There we go. Skinny man states obvious. Okay, that's all I've got to say on that. Anything that is speculation, anything that is new, has to prove itself, whether it be crypto or AI. There are many, many projects out there. 95% of projects out there are trash. They don't do anything and they will die. And the same people that invest in those projects will invest in another raft of projects or even AI projects that come along that also do the same thing. They don't make any money, they will die. This is a playbook for the industry. It's the same playbook that was played out in 2000, 2001, 1999 when the internet first started. 99.9% of all internet businesses that started back in 2020 are now dead. 99.9% of all crypto that exists today will be dead by 2040. I can pretty much guarantee it. Okay? There will be fewer blockchains, there will be fewer projects, but the projects that exist and the blockchains that exist will be the ones to hold. That's why we talk about the blue chips, the links of this world. Even the likes of Hype and Aster, which are great now, maybe they die. Maybe DeFi gets outlawed across the world because there's too many privacy tokens floating around. Maybe DeFi is topping out right now and maybe doesn't go any further. These things we don't know about, but we can say out of the top 1,000 tokens that exist today, probably 850 won't exist within the next 5 or 10 years. Some of them will merge. There will be buyouts along the way. There will be mergers along the way. Some of the blockchains will fail. We saw Helium, for example, tried to be its own blockchain. That migrated to Solana. Probably the best thing Helium ever did was run on Solana. You're going to see more of that. You're going to see more layer ones that are specific projects, maybe real-world asset projects that have got their own blockchain, realize it's not the way forward and migrate to somewhere like Solana. It's the future. It's the future. Now, Eric Balchunas always likes to give us a dose of medicine to help us. The dread I see from Bitcoiners is very short-sighted to me, given that since 2022, Bitcoin is up 429%. In other words, Bitcoin spanked everything so bad in 23 and 24 that those other assets still haven't caught up, even after having their greatest year ever and Bitcoin being in a coma. In my opinion, what happened, when the institutionalization narrative got priced in very quickly and ahead of it all actually happening. So it had to take a breather so the actual narrative could catch up to the price. Feel better now, you're welcome. Now, I love Eric Balchunas, but if you take the bottom of the price of any token and then compare it to the average market, and that token goes on a rip, of course you're going to make it look completely amazing. But why didn't he pick November 2021, a couple of months earlier? Why didn't he go from the 69,000 top to today, which is 88,000? And guess what? We won't have outperformed the precious metals of the market. So this looks amazing. Of course it does. It looks amazing. Bitcoin's done 400 and whatever it might be. But if we go to 69,000 and say, well, actually, let's say for argument's sake, we're up 25%. And then you reread this. Silver is up 350%. Gold is up 177%. And Bitcoin is up 25%. It reads completely differently. You can manipulate data to fit the narrative. And for me, Bitcoin has underperformed against gold and silver, probably for the last 4 years. We've had massive runs, which if you've timed them correctly, you've outperformed gold. I totally accept that. But at the end of the day, we still didn't get the blow off top. The institutionalization was priced in. We said this all along. ETFs basically broke the price of Bitcoin. They added probably 20-25% to the price of Bitcoin overnight. So they ran us up a lot quicker. And then we simply ran out of steam. But I don't take this take as gospel. I think this is a bad take from Eric. And I've not said that to him, but I think it's a bad take because I can move lines on a chart and a spreadsheet and make things look amazing. I can make it look like Bitcoin has underperformed coal. But it doesn't mean that Bitcoin is performing well. It's like saying this basketball player is a worse basketball player than this footballer, because they're kind of two different fields, two different markets. Same sport, you know, they're still in sports, but they're not performing the same way. Now, Wayne Rooney scoring 25 goals in a season is going to be a good season, but Mr. Basketball player over here scoring 400 points, it's not a like-for-like comparison because we don't know if that 400 is good or bad, but we know 25 goals a season is good. So I don't buy into that. Now then, the Fed holds interest rate steady, crypto market shrug as focus shifts to new chairman. This is exactly what we expected. I tweeted about this a few days ago. I don't think I'm going to be able to find that tweet. But basically what I said was we were going to hold interest rates. Powell was going to come out and say the market is doing incredibly well. In fact, I am going to find it because it was a little conversation piece that I put up here. Here we go. So this was 2 days ago, day ago, yesterday morning, whenever it was before the rate cut. I put no rate cut. Powell, no evidence of the need to cut rates. We continue to monitor the economy. Trump will now come out in the next day or two and say, loser, late Powell, we call him a real loser. Loser should be sacked. This is what's going to happen. Expect to see the next Trump speech say something about this. He'll say, I can't wait to get rid of him. I can't wait to sack him. That is exactly what they are going to do. Okay? It's like watching a pantomime. That's what it is. Now, this is what's interesting. 2 Fed governors dissented backing a 25% basis point cut. Okay? Now, the way to understand this is when you have 7 people making a decision and it's 7-0, 7-0, 7-0, and then the next one that comes along is 5-2, you're seeing a change in the committee's rate decisions. That 5-2 is a sign that the next one could become a 4-3 or a 5-2 in favour of a rate cut. That's how you read this, because all along they've been in agreement pretty much that we need to hold rates. Attention is shifting beyond rate moves, with investors increasingly focused on Fed leadership and policy signals shaping 2026 outlook. This is to do with the fact that Powell is gone in February, March, April, May. He's gone in 3.5 months. We will no longer see that beautiful man on our screens because he will step down. They've kept the rate, the change. There was a 97 to 99% probability of no rate change. Bitcoin, I think, ran up to that decision and is now basically retracing back to where we were at the start of the week. No biggie there. Bitcoin has fallen since then, of course. But we did, I think, wick to $90,000, did we not? And I think that's what people were talking about as well. So, again, it's a nothing burger. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. We expected it to happen. It happened the way that everybody else expected it. The markets did move a little bit. It's neither here nor there. Now then, one thing I am not doing is keeping an eye on chat. Good morning, Tariq. Good morning, Bullish Bull. I hope you are well. Good morning, Kishan. I hope you are well. I can't really start going through everybody over on here simply because I'm going to have to flick screens. So good morning to you all on Binance Square. Ethereum's new ERC 8004 lets AI agents work anywhere. Is this the future? Now, this was one of the big things that came out last year when they were talking about the new protocol that allowed AI agents to make macro payments and talk to each other. And that was a big thing, especially for the likes of Compute 3 AI, which we still really, really like, by the way. We don't mention them very much, but they are working in the background. We have no affiliation to them whatsoever. Also want to point out there, we've got no contract with them. We're not paid to promote them. we like their project. I think decentralizing the GPU cost to reduce the GPU cost by 90% just happens to be a very good idea. That's why we like them. Now, this standard launches on mainnet, giving AI agents portable blockchain identities and verifiable reputations to ensure secure and autonomous operations across organizations without centralized control. Now, this is pretty cool. And this is kind of the direction that I think a lot of crypto is now moving in. And that's to kind of create these semi-autonomous AI agents. Now, where I want to see us get is you have your own bot. You've got your own AI bot, and you allow your AI bot to pay the bills. So you say, my electricity bill is $100 a month. My water bill is $25 a month. My gas bill is $50 a month. And it gets that bill. It takes the dollars out of your Solana wallet or your Binance wallet or whatever it might be, and it pays that bill. But there will be outliers. So if your electricity bill comes in at $250, not $100, your AI bot notifies you that the bill is significantly higher than it normally is, and it hasn't paid it. That's where the kind of the clever stuff comes from. So I'm waiting for that kind of stuff, which is the kind of the real life use of AI. Not the ability to go off and do a lot of other things, but this is what's needed to get to that stage. And these are all small steps. We are still early. I'm going to say that probably for the next 2 years. We are still early. But Ethereum is in the unique position to be the platform that settles most of this AI to AI interaction. Krappis said. Great name, David. Noting that between 1 and 2,000 builders have already joined development groups since the specification was published in August last year. There he is talking about it. Solving AI's trust crisis through blockchain infrastructure. Again, one of the things is, how do we know that the AI bot you're talking to is the real AI bot and not a copy? I get followed and unfollowed and contacted by Ben Cowan, Benji Cowan, Benjamin Cowan, B Cowan, you name it. They message me all the time. Clearly it's not Ben Cowan because he's got my mobile number. But you get the idea. They contact you and they are fake fraudsters. So trust is required between these AI agents. An AI agent can't take the name of the corresponding AI agent over there to pay your bill. It has to know that it's Barclays Bank or it's Binance that's actually transacting. And that's also the next important stage. Now, AI agents currently operate as isolated systems confined to their own ecosystems, unable to interact across organizational boundaries without pre-existing trust relationships. Then it goes on to talk about OpenAI, talks about Google A to A. But the ERC 8004 fills the gap by providing 3 core components for trustless agent interaction. There is a unique blockchain identity registered as an NFT. And as we know, non-fungible tokens, they are unique. These create verifiable credentials that cannot be forged or tampered with. Really good idea. Agents are NFTs you can mint, view in wallets, transfer and manage them, including delegations to operators using existing 721 infrastructure and apps. Second, the protocol records on-chain reputation scores based on user ratings and task performance, similar to Uber driver ratings but stored permanently on Ethereum. Again, you have an NFT. You have online, basically, Trustpilot reviews of these things. A reputation registry stores feedback from users who interact with agents, recording ratings and everything else. Reputation is on chain, exactly. Now, one thing to point out about this is there are going to be some winners and there are going to be some losers. And there was a conversation about this on Solana the other day. If you want to stake your Ethereum, stake your Solana or stake any other proof of work, you're going to go and use the biggest stake. You're going to go and use Lido, or you're going to go and use Marinade. And the reason is because of the reputation and the trust already installed in those providers. Now, what that causes is a top-heavy problem where small validators simply die. With AI, it's going to be the same thing. We're going to see probably 5 to 10 AI operators across the different blockchains dominate this space. Do I know what they're called yet? No. But they will dominate. Maybe Virtuals or AI16Z or someone like that will dominate. But we don't know what they are just yet. They are to come. And this is important to understand, is we're not going to end up... You might think, oh, we're going to end up with 55,000 AI bots and we don't know Adam from Eve. You're not. You're going to end up with somebody like Lido dominating the space. And again, it is a problem of decentralization in the fact that if I was going to stake my Ethereum tomorrow, I would use Lido or a Lido product. If I am going to go and use DeFi to earn revenue, I'm probably going to use Morpho, or I'm going to go and use, what they called, the big one. I can't remember the name of. Anyway, but I would use them through Binance. And that's the issue. You can have all the decentralization in the world, but the popular ones, the ones that succeed, they're the ones that... Now, let me make sure that we are actually back. Are we back? Yes, we are. We are back. Welcome. Sorry about that. Internet cut out. Nothing I can do about it. So Tether launches USAT and divides its 187 billion USDT empire for compliance. You might think, what's the problem? The problem is that you have these various acts that are coming out in America, Clarity Act, Genius Act, etc., etc. And USDT, USDC, and every other stablecoin has got two choices. They either become fully compliant or they don't. And if they don't, they then fall outside of the scope of America. They're not going to be able to offer their stablecoins over there. And the easiest solution is to have two stablecoins. That's the easiest one. One that's fully compliant and one for the rest of the world. That's all that we're going to have. Now, the big issue for me is, of course, what happens, for example, if the EU comes out and says, we now want to do something different. Are Tether going to go and create EU DT, for example? Are we going to have Tether with 100 different semi-compliant stablecoins for the different parts of the world? That's what we don't want to go down the route of. Now, clearly, America is the biggest market for them right now, so they're going to go and do that. But again, China might want one, so we're going to go for Chinty, are we going to go for UT, are we going to go for AFT, AGT? Do you know what I mean? How far do we go? So they've split it up. They want to make sure that they are falling under the framework of the Genius Act. Absolutely, totally agree with that. They need to be fully compliant. The split market is a bet that post-Genius stablecoin adoption would price issuer identity and disclose Cadence as core product features. I totally agree with that. They're going to... I'm lagging. Am I lagging? It seems to be okay, Tariq. I think I'm okay. So this has gone live. Again, we don't need to talk too much about this because it's a stable coin. But suffice to say, if you see USAT knocking around on Binance Square or knocking around on the internet, it is Tether owned and Tether operated. But they have to be compliant. But again, if they made USDT, the question is, why didn't they just make USDT completely Genius Act compliant? Because that would tie them up. That would tie them down to be completely tied to the American government. And maybe they don't want to do that. And they are large enough to be able to get away with this. 187 billion. You look at, for example, you look at the top stable coins in the world. You have Tether coming in third, and then you have USDC coming in sixth. And between them, they are $257 billion. So $250 billion just for those two. And then further down here, you have the one that I'm looking for, which is this one, okay? World Liberty Financial is coming in at 5 trillion. Do you remember when I was talking about this at 1 and 2 trillion, and I said it's going to be at 5 trillion and 10 trillion and 20 trillion before you know it? There we go. $5 trillion. Now, to put that into context, that is making $250 million a year in interest. And what are they doing with that? They are buying back World Liberty Financial tokens. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know where that token's going to go. So, they need to be compliant, but they don't necessarily want to make their entire business compliant. USD1 is 100% compliant. Probably Circle will end up doing that. But I think we're going to see the likes of Tether look to spread their wings a little bit and have different ones. Right then, again, we're going to move on. We're not going to spend too long talking about some of these things because some of these things are a little bit not very exciting, and I'm just making sure I have enough time. We're going to talk about Ripple, Hype, Link, and CZ, so we can probably get through this one quite quickly. Basically, Ripple officially launches its own treasury, and 5 reasons why this should exist. Reese Merrick, Ripple's media director, talked about 5 key things the new platform is built to do. First, it will combine fiat and crypto balance into one live dashboard. You can now see dollar, euro, XRP, and RLUSD holdings in one place. So Treasury Desk can now see this. Absolutely fantastic. Secondly, making payments on time. With RippleNet and on-chain infrastructure, companies can settle vendor and intra-entity transfers in seconds across borders. This is the entire point of Ripple. The third task is getting rid of pre-funding. I need to find a way of putting this microphone so it's not directly across my screen because it's messing up what I'm talking about. So getting rid of pre-funding instead of keeping cash in foreign accounts just in case. Again, very good idea. Fourth, it would put extra cash to work automatically. Surplus balances are rotated into short-term yield. Again, we've talked about this 1,000 times before, haven't we? We've talked about treasuries and companies bringing their cash into the blockchain. And the example I've given many, many times before, a company that might be sitting on $120 million in cash on a Friday could simply move $110 million into USDY with Ondo, for example, leave it there for 3 or 4 days. Those 3 or 4 days times 52 is going to earn them 2% interest on that cash. It's going to earn them $2 million a year. So being able to move money in and out of yield-bearing assets on the fly is also removing the friction and is going to make companies more money. And it's a brilliant, brilliant idea. And finally, it runs tokenized payments right out of the box. It can already handle RLUSD transfers and perform smart contract-based treasury actions. So again, it might not sound sexy. This might not sound exciting to you. But if we're going to bring people on chain, we'll talk about real-world assets all the time. We talk about Maple Finance. We talk about Ondo all the time. We talk about all of these amazing things. Treasuries are where companies keep their cash. So if we're going to want companies to go and invest in Web3 stuff, we need somewhere for them to put their money. And going back to the conversation right at the very beginning about trust, who do you trust more than Ripple? It's centralized, okay? It's been around forever. It's fully compliant. It's fully legal. Brad Garlinghouse has a seat at the White House table. You're going to go and use Ripple. We talk about names of people that you're going to use. You're going to go and use Ripple. So this is not exciting. I understand it's not exciting for your bags, but it's exciting for the industry. And if the industry comes online and comes on chain and starts to buy the assets that you hold, the assets that you hold will go up in value. So it's a net positive for the industry. Now, this is probably the question on the lips of most people. Hyperliquid, which is down here, coming in at $32.44. This was below $25 at one point, below $22 quite recently, and it's had a little bit of a rally. It came down to $20, so it's actually up about 50% in a very short space of time. There we go. Now, they've changed. They are now looking upwards. The hype rally is back on. How long can it last? That is what we are going to talk about. Now, do I like hype? Yes. But I also like Aster. I also like Light. I like a lot of DeFi platforms. But I also say, and I say it very clearly, the market is big enough for more than one player. Look at Binance. Binance is the single biggest centralized exchange in the world. But it doesn't mean that there can't be other multi-billion pound sexes out there. Hyperliquid is the same. There is not going to be one winner. There will be several winners in every niche of crypto, there will be several winners. There may be liquid staking winners on Ethereum and Solana. There may be DEXs, Aerodrome, Jupiter, although Jupiter's selling a lot of DEX, but you know what I mean, Orca and Radium. Hype can exist and coexist with Asta, okay? It's only now in the last 20 years America has kind of like given up on competition rules that you've only really got one search engine, one Facebook, one Instagram. But if you look at like privacy chat services, you have multiples now. You've obviously got WhatsApp, which is of course no longer private. You have others. We've got the one that we use ourselves. We use Telegram. You have many others. You've got WeChat. So multiple different products can exist. Now, will Hype survive? Hype is grabbing the eyeballs after heavy selling cleared out and big players stepped in. The network is now topping key charts that traders can't ignore. Hype is on a strong run at press, trading near 33.80 after gaining 9% in the last 24 hours and 50% in the last week. Again, we'll finish this and then I'll give you my opinion on this. What's behind the rally? A big reason is the major sell pressure has finally calmed down. Again, have we not? That was me this time, Tariq. That was me. Do you know, last night's stream actually held up a lot better than I expected, given that we had a thunderstorm outside. Let me wait for me to come back on my screen and then we can carry on. There we are back. Okay, so they now do HIP3. Silver's done 1.1 billion in daily volume. Okay, this is big business for them. They are big business. Now, hopefully, my stream is going to come back on, and then we can continue. I think it's our internet connection because I'm on 5G, and my 5G is not working. Let's have a look. Let's just double check. Can anybody see me? Or have we gone off? Yeah, it's my camera. Okay, I'm back. Right. So, the long and short of it is, we've still got a storm, Ingrid, and it kicked out my 5G, which I think means it's the internet rather than me, which is good. And at the same time as all of this happened, my camera froze. So now I am back. So thank you, KB. I hope you're okay. Right then, so let's carry on. So I don't know where we got up to, but I'll just carry on. I'll carry on from the last bit that I missed off. Basically, a lot of people stopped selling, and they've started with HIP3, which I think was the instigation of this. They're doing billions of volume in silver, so that's the reason behind the rally. Now back to the original question: can Hyperliquid continue to go up? That is the question. We were on a rally, if you remember. How long were we on that rally for? What, about 6 months before the start of, or before the end of the bull run, we were on a bit of a rally. If we go back and have a look at the Hyperliquid chart, because I know a lot of people out there hold Hyperliquid. A lot of people bought it for about $20, which I kind of understand. Let me make sure. There we go. Now, let's go back over the course of a year, just to kind of show you what happened. We were down here at this, around about March or April time. the VC NFT project that I'm in, they started talking about buying into Hype, and they got into Hype at $18 and $21. That's what I remember. And if you look, I would say when we started talking about getting towards $60, that is when I was starting to feel very, very nervous about the price. And at the time, if you remember, I said I can't see this breaking $100. Or if I did, I said I can't see it going much above $100. But I think $100 was my top, absolute top for Hype. Not because I don't trust Hype, but because the chart was just going up in a straight line. Now, what I would say we've done is we have followed the market back down. We've come down with Bitcoin. We've come down with the market. We bottomed out at $20. Now, $20 is not far off where we bottomed in March last year. Bitcoin is probably going to have another leg down. Maybe goes down to back to $80,000 again. So Bitcoin's going to have another leg down. We don't know how long it's going to be. Maybe it's going to be in the next 2 or 3 months. Hype has to ride that wave of the market falling. I don't see us going to 60, 70 all-time highs. The all-time highs for Hype is coming in at $59.39, so $60. It has a market cap of $9.8 billion. Now, let's just do some very rough math. Now, there's people out there that say, Mike, using the market cap is BS. It's absolute nonsense. Don't use the market cap because you don't take into account circulating supply. I don't care. I don't care what you're telling me. I'm giving you a finger in the air. Hyperliquid is already $2.5 billion below Cardano. It then has a massive leap to get to Dogecoin, which is coming in at $20 billion. Also, I don't know why Dogecoin is still there. It needs to be taken out the back. And anyway, so where could Hype go? Hype at $15 billion would take the 10th position off Cardano. That would be a 50% move. That would put it at $47 in this current market. Now, there are many things to take into account. The revenue, it's generating bags of revenue. It's buying back its own token. It's now trading more than just crypto. It's on a bit of a run. But can we really see Hyperliquid going any higher than Tron at 28 billion? That's a 3x from where we are now, which puts us at $99. So when I talk about $100, we're talking about it challenging Tron. Is Hyperliquid, and this is a question for you, not for me, is Hyperliquid bigger than Tron as a blockchain? Then where do we talk about? Solana. Is it going to overtake Solana? Is it going to do a 7x and overtake Solana? Of course not. So you have to kind of look at where is it likely to end up. And I don't think we're going to go much higher than Cardano or Doge, simply put. So the most this is going to go to is $60, in my humble opinion. Okay, it's already had a 50% pump in a week, and everyone's going to tell you it's going to go higher to make you buy. If you were going to buy Hype, my opinion is you bought it at $20 to $25. That was my opinion, and I'm going to stick to that. Yes, it'll probably go to $40, but again, if you want to buy these coins, let's say you buy it today and it goes to $60, you will have made 100% profit, roughly. But had you bought it at $20 and it went to $60, you've tripled your money. So it's not a point of picking a winner, it's picking a winner when everybody else is saying it's not a winner. And everybody right now is saying it's a winner. And you need to be picking it when it's not a winner. Like Asta at 67 cents is a lot further away from its all-time high than Hype. So in my opinion, I wouldn't be touching Hyperliquid. In my opinion. And that's all it is. It's just my opinion. Take it or leave it. I'm not here to convince you. I'm not a salesman. I'm not a snake oil salesman. I'm just here to try and tell you what I think. Right then, let's move on. 4 reasons why Chainlink is expected to rebound. Chainlink's bearish momentum is expected to come to an end as 4 key indicators hint at its rebound again. I am, of any coin on your screen now, okay, of any coin on your screen now, the one that is baffling me is Chainlink, okay? It's $11.50. My target for Chainlink was $90, by the way. $80 to $100, I think it was. That was my target for Chainlink. It never got there. I think it got to $25 maybe, something like that. Never got anywhere near. It's fallen 50%. Every single thing that you see in Web3, in DeFi Web3, that is, has some form of connection with Chainlink. If you buy crypto through a DeFi wallet, at some point it probably goes through Chainlink. The price that you buy things on your DeFi wallet probably also go through Chainlink. If you look at the BlackRocks of this world, and if you look at the likes of the stock exchanges in America and probably the UK and Europe for the rest of the time, they'll be using Chainlink. It's not an $8 billion project. This should be humbly in the place of Doge, which is a 2x from here, 2.5x from here. That puts it at about $30. Absolutely fine with that. It's never going to be number one, it's never going to be number two, but I do think it should be a lot higher than where it is now. Now, that is beside the point. And also, by the way, it's boring, okay? It's not hype. Hype is sexy, it's leverage, it's silver, it's gold, it's sexy, it's the sexy girl at the bar. Chainlink is like the dowdy girl at the bar that's got a cardigan on and she's got a little shawl over her head. She doesn't say boo to a goose, but she is a demon at cooking, okay? That is what Chainlink is. It cooks all the time. Now, 4 reasons, allegedly, why you should get into this. Sentiment analyst expects it to rally in the short term. It's got one of the highest developer activities in the last 30 days. That doesn't really count for anything in my eyes. More than 10 million Link tokens have left exchanges since mid-December. That is a positive sign. How many Chainlink tokens are there in existence? That is the question. 700 million. And 10 million, again, not relevant. Link has struggled to approach its all-time high of $52 set in 2021. It reached $27.70, so it did break $25 in August and has been declining since. According to the market intelligence platform Sentiment, Chainlink recorded the second highest developer activity. We don't care about that one. Now, strong growth in protocol revenue. What do we say? Tell me in 1 or 2 sentences how your project makes money. That's it. You ask everybody. If somebody comes to you and say, oh, what's my bottle of water called? Font Vela token. It's brilliant. How does it make money? That is all I've got to say to you. They sell water. Fine. Okay, fine. Do they make any profit? Yes. Fine. Okay. How does it make money? Chainlink has a revenue of $1 million. Okay. Now, what's it doing with the $1 million? It's spending a lot of it on buying back its own token. And $1 million buys you a lot of Link. The token's price is seeing sell-offs. The network is becoming a more active and useful network. The notable rise in revenue also provides real usage. Absolutely agree. Link accumulation, absolutely correct. 10.5 million have left. There's only 118 million, so about 5, 6, 7% of left exchanges. That's supposedly sizable. The price has fallen below $13. The amount of negative social media activity around Chainlink has significantly increased over the past week. The analyst notes that when retail investors sell out of fear, uncertainty and doubt, the asset is likely to rebound in the short term. Despite the notable growth, Chainlink's technical and fundamental indicators, investors should keep an eye on the broader market activity. Exactly. I think the issue is it fell with the market. And again, what I don't understand is Bitcoin falls. Bitcoin's the number one asset. Everything falls with it. The sentiment of the market is gone. I get that. But there are projects, wholly undervalued projects, which are a lot lower, substantially lower than they should be. Now, you could argue, and you could say, well, $1 million of revenue a quarter is not a lot for a business valued at $8 billion. And that is a very valid argument. But again, the argument is more about Is it sustainable? Are they making a profit on $1 million? And yes, they are, because their team is not massive and they do a lot of work. They get paid for a lot of their stuff. Maple Finance, for example, is making $2.5 million a month, not a quarter. And their token price is valued at about 400 million. So again, I think there's a lot of room for growth in Chainlink. They're buying back their tokens. Maple are buying back their tokens as well, yes. But I think Chainlink is wholly undervalued. It is the market leader by a country mile. There is only one Chainlink and nothing comes close. $8 billion market cap, $11.50 a token, wholly undervalued. Just my opinion. Now, last article of the day. CZ reacts to Twisted FUD on his recent buy and hold. This is the title of the show. Twisted Sister were a band, okay? Twisted Sister were a band. You know what? I'm too old. That's the problem. I'm too old. It's all lost on you. KB's what, 23? I imagine Tariq's probably about 19. I'm too old for you guys. I get that. Now, the co-founder claims there's been a coordinated attack on him by FUDders. I actually agree. This is a bit like, you know, when somebody comes out, you know, let's say David Beckham comes out and says he likes pears, okay? The article that's written about him, David Beckham hates apples. David Beckham hates every single fruit in the world except for apples, okay? David Beckham is fruitist. That's the article that somebody would write about David Beckham saying he likes an apple, okay? What CZ said and how it was portrayed are as far away from each other as humanly possible. And I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke up CZ's arse, but come on, what he said is not worthy of the FUD. And I have been known to call CZ out. As you know, if you've watched me, he has to be very careful about what he says to not lead people down the wrong path. That's the same for anyone with a large following. But come on. He tweeted, he said, there have been very few trading strategies over many years. And he said, very few can beat the simple buy and hold. Buy and hold. Now, there is a book called Unshakable. And I think I've told you about this before, right? And I am sure you've all heard me talk about this before. Now, I am not a Tony Robbins fanboy. Let me point that out there. I'm not the kind of guy that's going to turn up at one of his shows, put my hand in the air and roar like a lion, okay? It's not about him. It's about the book. And in this book, it talks about people analysing portfolios. And the long and short of it is this. Dead people are better and outperform active traders. Dead people outperform active traders. Now, what dead people can't do is trade. So what do? They buy and they hold. They buy and hold. That's what they do, which is exactly what CZ said here. Okay? Because you can't do it. Now, because he said this, everybody went on the attack. Okay, so CZ came out to clear his name. If you buy and hold all crypto ever created, you know how your portfolio will perform. Same as if you bought every internet or AI project and company. Okay, it's common sense. Okay, now this is the apple and pear thing all over again. If Mags sent me an email with 10 meme coins and said, right, Mike, I put $100 into each of these meme coins, what do you think? I'd be like, I'm not sure this is a really good idea, Mags, to be honest with you. The same way, if Mags sent me 100 penny stocks, companies worth $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, and said, I'm going to put my entire net worth into these companies, what do you think? I'd be like, I don't think that's a very good idea, Mags. If Mags sent me an email and said, right, Mike, I have picked the Vanguard US equities, the Vanguard global tech stocks. I'm also going to buy some Tesla, some Apple, some Nvidia, some of the top blue chips. What do you think of that? That's 90% of my portfolio there. What do you think of that? I'd be like, absolutely. Buy and hold. Buy and hold. That is brilliant. That is exactly what I would do. Maybe throw in a bit of gold, although not at these prices, just to kind of give you a little bit of a counterweight. Now, CZ says buy and hold, it doesn't mean go and buy Tony Robbins meme. Don't go and buy Hoctor Girl. Don't go and buy Daddy. Don't go and buy Hulk Hogan. Don't be an idiot and use common sense. Okay? You buy, and if somebody came to me and said, without naming me a single coin, what would you buy? I would say, go and buy the top 4 or 5 cryptocurrencies in the world. What would that mean? Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, XRP, and Solana. Buy and hold. Those 5. Go away. Right? Now, that is what buy and hold means. It does not mean you go to the other end of the screen, layer 0, or afford it. Neither can I. Right? What do you buy from the supermarket? What you need. In crypto, you buy what you need. Mainly Bitcoin, some Ethereum, some BNB, some Solana, some XRP, and then with the rest of the portfolio, and we'll come back to the portfolio at the very start of the stream, the rest of your portfolio, you do what? You go and buy, this is like one of those, you know those comedy sketches where the guy brings the entire show back to one thing that he said at the very start of the show? I feel like it's that. This is the first thing we started with today. You buy and hold the top assets because they have a better chance of succeeding than the smaller assets. So when CZ says buy and hold, he's talking about something very similar, although clearly it won't have Crow in it, but it's very similar to what we talk about here. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, ADA, XRP, Syrup, Aster, WLFI, and Link and Pack and things like that. These are, you work out 75, 83, 90, 95, 98% of my portfolio is here. 2% of my portfolio is in these very, very small assets. Okay, that's what you should be doing. So when CZ says buy and hold, he's talking about something like this, not the entire top 1,000 cryptocurrencies. So when you see idiots having a go at CZ about stuff like this, understand this. They are choosing a fight with CZ. They are not giving you alpha. They are not telling you that he's doing this to empty your bags or Binance is going to do this. He's telling you common sense moves. You go to any stock trader or any investment advisor and you say, I want to buy and sell out of crypto assets. Sorry, I want to buy and sell out of stocks and shares every week. He'll probably call you a high frequency trader and he'll ask you to walk out the door. If you go in and he says, right, okay, we're going to get you some FTSE 100, some S&P 500, some global stocks. We're going to get that for you. You're going to hold it for 5 to 10 years because that's how long you hold for. 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Not days, years. These people think in different timescales than crypto people. Bear that in mind. Anyway, enough of me. I have finished. Comes to the end of the stream. Thank you all for watching. I didn't get a chance to drop any more red boxes over on Binance Square. I do apologise, but we had some internet problems and it kind of delayed me. I am back tomorrow and I'm also back on Saturday with a Maple Finance stream. Tonight, the Oracle is back. The Oracle is streaming tonight. I don't know what time, 7 or 8 o'clock. I'm going to put that up in the Binance Square page soon. I think it's already over on YouTube. I need to go and double check. But thank you everybody for tuning in. You, as always, have been great. I have been Mike. Until tomorrow, adios. Oh, and happy birthday, Mags, to your mother once again. Bye-bye.